everyone cringe. Leon Rosby was filming an investigation of a robbery scene in Hawthorne, California, Sunday evening. He says his intention was to make sure that no one's civil rights were being violated. But after not responding to police's request to turn down his blaring music, police began to approach him with an arrest in mind. Seeing the police coming, Rosby put his 3-year-old Rottweiler, Max, in the back seat of his car. Unfortunately, he left the window open. What you're going to see is graphic. As Rosby was handcuffed by police, the dog sprung out of the window and lunged at officers. One responded, firing several shots, killing the dog. Well, the video has gone viral. It's a disturbing scene, and some have wondered if it illuminates other police tactics. I was joined earlier by Los Angeles community organizer Ron Gochez, who filled us in on what happened.
We have one of many incidents where we believe that the police department here in Southern California really overreacted to a situation where, a resident of that community in Hawthorne, California, was legally observing the police. He had his cell phone out. He was recording the police, making sure that they didn't do anything wrong. And when the police realized that he was recording them, that he was legally observing them, they came over in a very threatening manner. The man did not resist. He he completely complied with the police. They handcuffed him, but before he was handcuffed, he responsibly put his dog in his vehicle so that there would be no problem. Unfortunately, the dog did get out, and I think, the video speaks for itself. I think the police, shot the animal like many other animals and many other people here in Southern California. And that just shows, the brutality of the police departments that really have no regard for human or animal life.
Mm-hmm. Well, this video, it took social media by storm. Why do you think there was such a strong reaction to this?
I don't know if people have seen the entire video, but if people see the whole video, you'll see that the man was very clearly doing, an observation, a legal observation of the police while they were conducting some type of operation. And I think that the part that the majority of people have seen is just the police shooting the dog. I think a lot of, animal rights groups, a lot of people have made a pretty big deal about this, in which it, deservedly so. But I think the reality here is that what happened to, this dog here happens to people all the time. And I think that a lot of the people, have almost become desensitized to the fact that people get killed by the police almost on a daily basis. So when it happens to an animal and it was caught on video, I think a lot of people, it just, it hit a nerve. But I think it's important to note that this is something that is not an isolated incident. In fact, I myself, the Los Angeles Police Department almost killed my dog one time. They maced him in our backyard with absolutely no need for it. So I just think it's, they feel that they can do whatever they want. Nothing's going to happen to them. And unfortunately, it takes a video of this nature, something like this, to happen for there to be attention to this type of situation.
Mm-hmm. Well, we often hear, Ron, of cops shooting unarmed civilians, in public, but there seems to be a larger outcry here. This is an animal, and it was very unfortunate. But do you think that there's a, why do we care more, it seems like, about the animal than we do? Because this happens so often with people.
Yeah, that's something that the people in my community on the streets are saying. They're saying, you know what, this happens all the time to blacks and Latinos, and it's not as big of a deal as when this Rottweiler got shot. Now, of course, we're outraged that this animal was killed. There's no doubt about that. But I think that, again, we have to use this incident to remind the community of the dehumanizing of the oppressive and repressive nature of police departments across this country. That's the way that they handle situations. It's not, ask questions first. No, it's shoot first and then ask questions. And with this dog, I think that, in the first instance, we have to question, why was his owner put in handcuffs? I think there's a racial element to it as well. If the owner of this dog would have been white, I don't know if he would have gotten the same treatment. I don't think so. So I think this raises a lot of questions on race, on police brutality, on animal rights. But in general, I think that we have to see the conduct of the police department. I think, by and large, police departments need to have more training, sensitivity training, not just for animals, but for human beings. And I think that if that were to happen, these types of situations would have been handled in a much different way. The police officers simply could have asked the man in the video, hey, what's going on? What are you doing? It could have been a totally peaceful situation, but it resulted in the death of this obviously innocent animal.
Ron, okay, so that brings me to my next question. You've lived in Los Angeles for a while, and you've dabbled in politics there. How has the community responded to police tactics in your area?
You know, I live in South Central Los Angeles. This is pretty internationally known for police brutality. You know, that's where Rodney King, the beating took place. The people in the streets, like I said, they've been saying, look, this happens all the time in our community. This just so happened to be caught on video, and it was an animal that got shot. But unfortunately, this is something that's it's not a rare occasion in Los Angeles for there to be a shooting. Now, this one didn't happen to be in the city of Los Angeles, but, you know, in the greater Los Angeles area. I think this just we need to call on the police departments, you know, across the nation, because this obviously happens everywhere, to be retrained so that, you know, they take a more peaceful approach to solve situations that can be resolved. You know, the man in this video, he was not acting violently. He was not a threat at all. But here in Los Angeles, we always feel that, you know, whether it be racial profiling, things always lead to police brutality, and it's very unfortunate. And I think the only way things will stop is when there's actual consequences for the police department. And that's what people are saying on the streets. They're saying this cop will probably get in more trouble for gunning down a dog than the officers who kill people in broad daylight who are unarmed. This happens all the time. There's no justice. That's why these officers conduct themselves in this way.
Okay, Ron, we have to leave it there. Really appreciate you weighing in. That was community organizer Ron Gochez.
Thank you.
Give me my dog back. They wouldn't give me his body. So I put my dog in the car. And the only thing he was doing when they handcuffed me right here, I said, Max, I said, no, Max. So they stopped. They stopped, the two officers stopped. But the third one came out of nowhere, but he didn't hear the conversations or nothing that happened. His name was Officer Salmon that killed him. S-A-L-M-O-N. He killed him. And the other two officers, they already had me in custody. I was complying with them. If you notice, I turned this way and I start backing up. And I let them handcuff me. Okay? He said, you're resisting. So I hollered out, I said, you guys, I'm not resisting. They're handcuffing me, but they're saying I'm resisting and I'm not. So they turned me this way, and as I was turning this way, I turned around and my dog jumped out the car. First he was barking, he jumped out the car, and he went at one of the officers, and I said, Max, no! And he backed up like this, and that third officer came this way, and when he came this way like this, he had his gun drawn already. So he came over here to kill him. And then the dog jumped like this at him, and he said, pop! And then he said, pop, pop, pop! He did it 3 more times. So I asked the lieutenant, I said, is that protocol for someone to kill a dog and shoot him 4 times after the dog was trying to flee? If you see where his blood is going, he wasn't coming to the officer no more. He was trying to get away. So that one shot had him, and he was trying to get away over here,